Misty, would you call the roll, please?
David Burris.
Here.
Wes Grimes.
Present.
J.R. Huddleston.
Here.
Deborah Johnston.
Here.
Bill Lukens.
Here.
Larry Pratt.
Here.
Craig Romey.
Here.
Caitlin Turner.
Here.
Thank you.
Would you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
To the
United States of America, and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody here.
Some brave souls.
Oh, yeah? You're set?
First time I've heard the Pledge of Allegiance in, what do you call it, three round harmony? Okay, remind everyone about conflict of interest. If you have anything that you're uncomfortable voting for, please let the council know. Need a motion to approve an amended agenda. The bid opening is actually a 7:10 bid opening. And then the executive session, that's at the end. We are not going to have an executive session, so we'll be excluding that. So the amended agenda would be to add 7:10 to the bid opening for the airport hay proposals and to exclude the executive session at the end of the council meeting.
I make a motion we approve the agenda with the amendments to the agenda showing 7:10 bid opening, the 2021 airport hang proposal, and eliminating the executive session.
Second. Discussion? Misty, would you call the roll, please?
David Burris.
Yes.
Is it okay if I just say last names to go faster? Grimes.
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Romey.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 16th council meeting, please?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for March 16 council meeting.
Second. Discussion? Would you call the roll, please, Misty?
Burris.
Yes.
Grimes.
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Romey. Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Need a motion to approve the bills in between.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills in between for $99,335.17.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please, Misty.
Burris.
Yes.
Grimes.
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Romey.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Motion.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if this makes a difference, but on the agenda, it says March 15th and then 16th.
Yeah, we corrected
Thank
that
you.
when we made the motion. Thanks.
Thank you.
No problem. I didn't hear nobody correct it.
A motion to approve the current claims.
Make a motion to pay. Make a motion to pay the current claims of. Jumped right in that one. $99,375.02.
Second.
Discussion?
Kind of weird that both are close together like that. I've never seen them like
Yeah.
that.
I thought I had the wrong paper in my hand for $40.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call?
Burris.
Yes.
Grimes.
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Romey.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. Motion to approve the Wells Fargo credit card claims.
Make a motion to approve the Wells Fargo credit card claims for $5,822.44.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Burris.
Yes.
Grimes.
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Romey.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
The motion passes. That takes us to communications from the public. Linda Long, are you here? All right. Well, we're about 5 minutes away from our bid opening. We should be able to pick off a number of these things. Can I get a motion to approve personnel actions A through P?
Make a motion to approve personnel actions from A to P.
Second.
Discussion?
I got a question. This would be missed. J and K. How come?
Can you speak into the mic?
I didn't hear
I
the
was
name.
speaking into the mic, it's not working.
Yeah. Get up close and personal with it.
It's not working,
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
is it?
I just didn't hear the name.
J and K. How come we hired them 1 week and then a week later we gave them all a raise?
That quarter that they get for returning after a year, we chose April 1st as the date to apply that, because typically people are coming back after that date, so that we get them all at once and don't miss anybody. So those people started before the 1st at last year's rate and then qualified for that quarter upon returning on the 1st.
Okay,
Any other questions? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
yes,
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we still have a little time. Let's move on to our first ordinance item. Ordinance item A, the second reading of ordinance 1226. A motion on that, please?
Make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 1226, an ordinance repealing the following sections of Title III Administration, Chapter 35 Economic Development, Business Development, Subchapter Direct Discretionary Tax Formula Rebate, 35.15-35.18, and adding a grandfather clause.
second,
Discussion? If you remember, that's the one discretionary tax formula that you repealed and added the grandfather clause that we're still working on coming up with new language for the different ordinance on that one.
So that is being worked on right now?
Yes.
To redo, yeah.
Yes. Any questions? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
No.
Huddleston,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
yes,
Turner.
No.
The motion passes. I think we can get our second one here. Second reading of ordinance 1229.
Make a motion to approve second reading ordinance 1229, an ordinance revising Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 155, Zoning Code 155.004, uses permitted on review, subsection D, daycare facilities.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens. Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
yes,
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. All right, about 30 seconds away from our 7:10. Anyone have any comments on our snow?
I don't want that more.
Where are we at on our snow removal budget?
We're okay, but it's early.
I just saw a code red warning, weather warning flash on my phone. So that doesn't sound good.
All right, we have a 7:10 bid opening of a 2021 Airport A proposal. Have one proposal. I, Chad Feldman from Oral, South Dakota, would like to place a bid of the requested 60/40 to hay the grass at the airport. I would possibly be interested in the remainder 40% depending on the asking price that is decided. I would also request the option to not hay if there is a lack of moisture that prevent a decent hay crop. And with high fuel prices, it would not be profitable for me. Gets a contact number and no price.
Is that the one bid we got?
Yes, just one bid, Wes.
What was the name again?
Chad Feldman. Well, I think we need to go back to the gentleman and ask,
Can we put it out for bids again?
That would be my suggestion. Let's go out again.
all right, it's up to the council.
I would add that we don't usually ask for a dollar amount, it's a split, and then we determine the value of the hay at the time. Used to be based on the feedlots rate, but this time Ivan has contact with someone with the Department of Agriculture, I want to say, that tells them what the price will be, and that was in the bid proposal.
All right,
Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah, so we asked for a split, and our minimum split is 60/40.
so then if approved by the council, they wouldn't know what price would come in at until the time that it comes to sell it?
Correct.
All right.
Thanks for the clarification. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
It's the Fall River County Extension Office that will provide the value of the hay determined at the time it's available for sale.
And we have done this in the past.
Yes. Every year. It saves us from having to cut it.
What about the clause where he says he might not hay it? Is that going to be a problem for us if it doesn't get hayed? Or do we have a mower where we can just cut it down ourselves?
Yeah, well, if it doesn't make enough hay, it's not really gonna be a problem
For
us.
anybody.
It's not gonna be any ground cover.
And it wouldn't hurt just to till that back into the ground.
Irrigation
So
ditches.
it's found.
Goes back from winter, goes back in the soil.
All right. I'd like to send this to Airport Advisory and let them take a look at it and give you a recommendation. You okay with that?
I'm good with that.
Fine. All right. Well, we left off at new business. New business item A, a possible motion discussion to authorize city maintenance employee Lori Sherrard to accept a South Dakota Department grant.
I'll make a motion to authorize city maintenance employee Lori Sherrard to accept the South Dakota Department of Agricultural, Urban, and Community Forestry Challenge Grant for $1,000 to plant 8 trees at Evergreen Cemetery.
Second.
Discussion? Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. New business item B, possible motion discussion to approve contract 2021-5 with Evans Plunge Mineral Springs.
Make the motion, excuse me, make the motion to approve contract 2021-5 EPMS Red Cross Lifeguard Instructor. I'm going to tear this name up. Bellum?
Balltime.
Say that again?
Balltime.
Balltime. 1 year in exchange for EPMS annual family membership.
Second.
Discussion?
When you say family membership, how many could that possibly be?
That's a $500 membership.
Yeah, the price is the same, but it's
$570.
who lives in their home.
Immediate, just immediate.
So, and then after this year, that we're gonna approve someone to get trained to do this, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. New business item C, a possible motion discussion to advertise for bids for the construction of a multi-aircraft hangar building.
Make the motion to advertise for bids for the construction of a multi-aircraft hangar building and site development at the Hot Springs Municipal Airport.
Second motion.
Discussion?
I got a question. If the grant doesn't pay this, where does money come from? Because it says it's not for sure that we'll get a grant for that.
Yeah, we already have the grant award.
For 100%.
We budgeted to cover 80, or 20, but yeah, we're hoping 100% is the amount.
Any other questions?
How many planes is this gonna hold?
6 to start.
But out of that 6, we already have people putting their names down for them, don't we? Don't we have 1 or 2 that are,
Yeah, I think more than 1 or 2. Maybe Bill is best to answer if he can hear your question, the total number on that waiting list, but
Bill, did you hear the question?
I think so. But do we have people on the waiting list? I believe we do. I think we've got like 10 people on a waiting list,
Okay.
last I heard.
All right, last I heard, wasn't confirmed, but I heard 6, so they're still, that's,
Yes. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Burris,
yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. New business item D, possible motion discussion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a warranty deed.
Make a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the warranty deed to lots 1 through 5 and 43 through 49, block 17, Fargo and Prentice addition to the town, now city of Hot Springs, Fall River County, South Dakota, also known as the Armory property, to Richard D. Alsted.
Second?
Discussion? So this is finalizing the paperwork for the Armory property that you sold. Roll call, please.
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. New business item E, possible motion discussion to approve and publish 2 times the notice to the bidders for the 2021 wastewater treatment facility.
I would make a motion to approve and publish 2 times the notice to bidders for the 2021 Hot Springs wastewater treatment facility digester cover replacement.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. New business item G, possible motion discussion to set a public hearing. You skipped that.
Yeah.
No. Possible motion discussion to approve a temporary alcoholic beverage license.
I'll make a motion to approve a temporary alcoholic beverage license application for CS Inc., known as Winter Circle, for the Stars and Stripes event to be held at Centennial Park, May 31st of 21.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yep.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, new business item G. Possible motion, discussion to set a public hearing on April 19th, 2021.
Make a motion to set public hearing on 4/19/21 at 7:10 PM to act on the 2 applications for temporary alcoholic beverage licenses from Hot Springs Rotary Club, be at the Centennial Park on 6/25/21 to 6/27/21 for the Arts and Crafts Festival, and on 7/3/21 for the 4th of July street dance.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. New business item H. Possible motion, discussion to acknowledge the notification of the raffle from Dusty Pence and Jackie Lockwood.
I make a motion to approve, to acknowledge the notification of raffle from Dusty Pence and Jackie Lockwood for an ongoing Jack of Hearts raffle, raising money for the Can Man Can Do Trade Scholarship.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. New business item I. A possible motion, discussion to approve travel training request for library clerk David Driscoll.
I'll make a motion to approve travel training request for library clerk David Driscoll to attend the 2021 Public Library Institute training in Aberdeen, South Dakota, 6/6/21, 6/11/21.
Second.
Discussion?
Is he new?
Barely.
About a year?
Maybe not even that. I
Not
don't
bad.
know.
Okay, because I didn't recognize Leonard.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. New business item J. Possible motion, discussion to approve the travel training request for the Southern Hills Golf Course Clubhouse attendant Greg Faust.
I would make that motion to approve travel training request for Southern Hills Golf Course Clubhouse attendant Greg Faust to attend the South Dakota Department of Tourism Spring Hospitality Training in Custer, South Dakota on 5/3/21 Crazy Horse Memorial.
Second motion.
Discussion? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
The motion passes. New business item K. A possible motion, discussion to approve travel training request for Evans Plunge Mineral Springs Wellness Aquatics Director.
I make a motion to approve the travel training request for Evans Plunge Wellness Aquatic Director Cody Karras to attend 2021 Lifeguard Instructor course in Sioux Falls 4/9/21 through 4/11/21.
Second.
Discussion? And this is the individual that Wes was asking the question about, being trained to provide our lifeguard certifications in the future. Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens.
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. New business item L. Possible motion discussion to approve travel training request for the maintenance fleet mechanic.
Make the motion to approve travel training request for maintenance fleet mechanic Steve Alexander and water maintenance operator Tad Harder to attend the 2021 Premier Pyrotechnics Shooter School in Plunge. Flandreau at South Dakota on 4/16/21 through 4/18/21.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I see this is on a Saturday, is that right? So will those guys work Friday and take Monday off, or will they?
I think they return, is it a Friday through
I guess I'm
Sunday,
probably-
I thought? Yeah, Friday through Sunday.
It's kind of weird to have it on a weekend, but.
So you can get people who are not having to work.
It's also at a casino, so it sounds like a lot of
Ah,
work.
That says it all.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. New business item M. Possible motion discussion to approve travel training request from Police Chief Mike Close.
Make a motion to approve travel training request for Chief. Request from Police Chief Mike Close to attend pending scholarship award, International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference in New Orleans, LA.
Louisiana.
Please. From 9/10/21 to 9/15/21.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, so is this, I guess I'm confused, is it some kind of scholarship award, or is it a school, or is it?
It is a Police Chiefs Association meeting. It's a national Police Chiefs Association meeting, and he won't go if he doesn't get awarded the scholarship, but he has to have council approval to apply for the scholarship.
If he gets a scholarship, they pay for it.
Yes,
Right.
he has gone before too, so he wasn't gonna apply again, but they told him that they don't have a lot of applications, so he can apply again.
I think you make good contacts.
Any other questions?
It's good training.
Roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion passes. New business item M. Possible motion discussion to remove Luke Broyles from the Historic Preservation Commission.
Make the motion to remove Luke Broyles from Historic Preservation Commission.
Second motion.
Discussion?
I'd like to strongly advise against terminating Luke. He has shown himself to be a real active participant in its function and is one of the principals in the editing of Chapter 32 ordinances. His research skills are phenomenal, and it's something he loves to do, and he loves the history of Hot Springs, so those two coincide really well. It's wonderful having younger people join in these endeavors, and it's something that shouldn't be let go by. He's a major asset to the process. Reasons for terminating his membership, I believe, are punitive, vindictive, and censorship, and will not serve the city's best interest.
Anyone else on council have any comments?
I'll abstain from the vote.
Luke, I see you're in the audience. Would you like to address the council?
But it would just be about conflicts of interest, so, no.
Anyone else? Karen? Please.
Kara Hagan, 549 Colebrook Street, Hot Springs. I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission, and Luke is always available to push for research. He's put a lot of time and effort in. I'd hate to see him lose the position. I'd like you guys to consider giving him like a written warning, something other than just flat out terminating him. There's been other occasions where city employees have also made comments on social media that weren't appropriate. So please see both sides, and please give him a chance. He's really valuable. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. Mike? Are you interested in making a comment?
Sure.
Good evening, Mike Summer, 549 Colebrook Street. I guess I will just reiterate what Deborah and Karen said. Luke puts forth a lot of effort in his research, and he knows many things that are beneficial for the historic preservation. And I would certainly like to consider him staying in that role. Thank you.
I'd also like to add that maybe we all need to learn how to be more discerning with our words, which is what got us into this situation in the first place. And Luke just had my back. And there's no conflict of interest there either. So I think we need to consider council's words that were said as well. So Luke is not the only one with dirty hands here.
One more time, Luke? Want to be fair to the process. I want to give you all the opportunity. Your bag, please. Thank you.
When I accepted the position, how long was that? A year ago?
Yeah, I think you were the first one that got appointed when I became mayor.
I said the city wasn't going to control the chat room, or it was in the chat room. I had been asked before that. I accepted it the third time I was asked. So to remove me now because of something in the chat room, I don't really think it's fair.
I was not a part of those conversations, those agreements. Your name was put forward to me to approve, and I accepted at that time the recommendation of the Historic Preservation Commission. So, as far as the chat room is concerned, that I wasn't aware of those concerns at the time.
Wow. I really don't know.
All right. Any other comments from the council? Questions? So, yes, I am asking you to consider removing Luke from the Historic Preservation Commission regarding comments that he posted to social media prior to the council meeting even being over. And I've shared with him, and I've shared with all of you that it's the specific language that Luke chose to use that I feel is completely inappropriate. There were other members of the commission that were involved in that conversation that didn't chose to go to the depths that Luke did. I'm disappointed in the comments. I recognize their right to support it. That goes without saying. Speaking to the fact of employees have said things on social media, and there haven't been any other kinds of repercussions, public repercussions. Luke is in an appointed position. So let me just read what I wrote to council when I notified you that I was asking Luke to be removed. I asked you to appoint Luke to the commission to represent the city in all things historic and to be one of the voices on the commission that provide the council with sound guidance. As a result of Luke's post to social media and the language he chose to use, I've lost confidence in Luke's ability to provide you with the unbiased guidance you need to depend on. After having read that, I would like to amend the last statement, unbiased guidance. I would like to change that to objective. Luke is obviously biased in his passion for the buildings, the historic properties. And that's right, that's appropriate. But there's a correct way to do that. We all have freedom of speech, but I also think we have we have an obligation to responsible freedom of speech. So I stand by my request to remove Luke from the Historic Preservation Commission. You appointed him, and I just feel he's let you down in the trust that you placed in him to give you objective guidance. I stand by my recommendation. So when we get into roll call votes, a lot of this has to do with conflict of interest and the difference of opinion of what is or isn't conflict of interest. I do believe that Caitlin and Deborah have a conflict of interest in this vote, so I'll be asking them to abstain. And that's your call whether you do that or not. Anything else from the public? Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor, make one comment.
Oh, yes.
You know, we as a council, and yes, you're correct, but we as a council, we have certain standards that we have to uphold, and I feel that if we have anybody that we're putting in any of these committees down below us, I also feel like those individuals should follow those code of conducts also. That's just my opinion. Yes, you have a right to your opinion, you have a right to your freedom of speech, but bear in mind you are representative of this city and this town, and as such I believe that you should act accordingly. Thank you.
One last comment, because Deborah brought it up in her support of Luke, that this move will be seen as punitive and vindictive. That's incorrect.
And censored.
Censored was added. That's incorrect. I see this action as in response to. Words have consequences. This is not intended to be vindictive. Luke has pointed out that social media is 24/7. It's not my intent to quiet him. I can't. But I do have a responsibility to have people on your committees that represent the city well. And in this particular case, that didn't happen. All right, Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston,
Yes.
Johnston,
Apparently not.
you will abstain.
Yeah.
Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
Yes.
Turner, you will abstain.
Abstain.
Thank you.
All right, so it takes us on to our committee reports. Administrative and Finance. Caitlin, but I believe, Bill, you're going to give the report this evening?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can the audience hear Bill? They're shaking their heads. Thumbs up.
Okay. I'll do my best here. Admin Finance met today at 1 p.m. at City Hall. In attendance were Mayor Nelson, myself, City Administrator Gregory, Finance Officer Summers Walton, and one member of the public, Wally Cottrell from the bid board. Under old business regarding the surplus weapon, that went up on gunbroker.com on April 1st. That will be a 2-week online auction. We discussed a little bit about the potential commercial tenant at the airport. The potential tenant is working out some internal issues, so there's no real progress at this point. Regarding the council laptops, they should be ready for council member tutorials later this week. We talked about the Fall River County Highway fuel system repairs and agreement. The discussion had been, should we just install a larger tank at the county or at the city shop to meet our own needs? John had looked into that, and a new tank would be $34,000, and a new reader to handle the bookkeeping on that would be another $5,000. So that's probably not the best direction to pursue at this time. So we will be pursuing an updated agreement with the county. We talked a little bit about the airport hangar lease agreements. We need to update those because we've got some leases coming due in November. There's a subcommittee from the Airport Advisory Committee that are working on an updated agreements, and that is a work in progress. Also, a work in progress is the ordinance revision to remove the language regarding appointed positions for the finance officer and the public works engineer. Under new business, Wally Cottrell was there requesting a play and stay package for the various lodging facilities here in town for Plunge Mineral Springs to get guests to get a 50% discount. I think Wally will be at the Plunge committee meeting this Thursday to discuss that issue with them at that time. Misty went over the finance officer report, which she will do in detail later on in this meeting. We talked about the airport agreement with South Dakota Wildland Fire. That again is a work in progress. We did a cursory review of the medical marijuana requirements. Again, we're waiting on guidance from the state and South Dakota Municipal League. Basically, committees that will be involved in developing our local ordinance will be planning and zoning, public safety, and admin finance. We also talked about some unbudgeted items for Mueller Civic Center, one being a new computer loaded with QuickBooks. That's going to be about a $1,200 expense that's going to need to come from contingency. We also talked about the potential transfer of property from Plunge Mineral Springs to the general fund. This is a property that's being used for the mobile vending park. This is a 0.335 acres. Next step is to get a reasonable valuation from a local realtor or other entity. And so once that valuation has been determined, we'll get that on the council agenda to make that transfer. We also talked about the request from the school board or the school to place a container at the Mueller Center for the storage of the gymnastics equipment. A more expensive container was requested. When we went through the budget for this year, we budgeted $1,500 for that container. And it's our belief that we should stick with the city's portion should stay at that $1,500 commitment. John also brought to our attention some potential uses for the airport property for some other things going on out in that part of the county. And that pretty much takes us to the end of the meeting, which is adjourned about 2:15 p.m. Did I miss anything? Bob or Misty?
I don't
No.
think so.
Anyone have any questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Airport Advisory. Bill?
Okay. Brought up here. Okay, Airport Advisory met on Thursday, April 1st, 8 a.m. at the airport. Members present were Larry Vetterman, Ed Jensen, Edgar Wilson, Mike Shane Miller. City employees present were Ivan Benner, Tracy Bastian. Elected officials, I participated by phone. There again, we also had an update from Ivan regarding Advanced Aero Technologies Group. Because of their delay in, or potential delay moving down here, since they've got some internal issues they're working out, Ivan is working on a plan B to get possibly get 2 seaplanes in the city hangar for the summer months if AATG doesn't get down here, so we can still get that hangar fully utilized and get that as a revenue, full revenue generation for that facility. KLJ did a preliminary design review on March 23rd. That review had participants by the city and members of the Airport Advisory Committee. In March, we had 40 flight operations and we sold 598 gallons of fuel. Members of the committee are still planning on continuing to plan for the Kids Aviation Day. That will be Saturday, June 5th. Shane Miller's the driving force behind that. Talked about the advertising plan. This year, the day's activities will be a little shorter than last year so that we can keep everybody's interest and maintain the attendance. Also, on March 31st, South Dakota Department of Transportation conducted their pavement condition index survey. The full report will be out later, but the initial indication is that our runway condition is above average. Ivan also informed us that there is a private housing development going on outside of the airport property, and that there's on the northwest corner of the property, and that there's been a request to access that property via the airport land. Ivan will be contacting the airport district office, FAA, to determine if that can be allowed. If that's allowed, the council will then have to make a determination if we want to allow that to happen. Under old business, again, our subcommittee is working on a standardized hangar rental agreement. We hope to have that completed by mid-May. And we're working on the South Dakota Wildland Fire and Lease Agreement. And again, we hope to have that on the council agenda no later than May 17th. We're using the Butler Park agreement that we approved last year as a go-by, so just changing the land description should be about the only changes we need to make. We will actually be getting some lease money for the land that South Dakota Wildland Fire uses. Our meeting adjourned at 9 a.m. and our next meeting is actually going to be Monday, May 3rd at 8 a.m. at the airport.
Any questions for Bill?
Where was that housing complex going up at, Bill?
Oh, can you repeat? I didn't quite catch that.
Craig's asking where the housing complex is anticipated for?
If I took my notes correctly, I think it's on the northwest corner of the airport. They're developing 8 lots.
Is that where Shamonik had that land? There's a county road that goes right up to the northwest corner of the airport property.
I think the individual may be interested in developing some airport homes or hangar homes, so they want access to the airport, but that's an awful lot of hearsay and speculation, so we've got we need a lot more definite information and specific requests before we can act on it.
Bill, you said earlier a possible commercial customer as far as a hangar rental.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what we're looking at? Is that? Go ahead.
Advanced Aerotech Group has indicated interest in moving their operation to Hot Springs. They're one of the largest avionics dealers really in the nation. They currently have an operation in Rapid City. They've put their hangar up for sale in Rapid, and so they're looking for about 3,500 square feet of hangar space to lease for not only avionics work, but aircraft maintenance work.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bill. Custer Fall River Regional Waste Management, Larry?
Next meeting will be May 13th, 7 p.m. at the Mueller Center.
Thank you. Historic Preservation, Deborah?
The ad hoc committee did some exterior building inspections of 3 of the vacant sandstones in town within the last 2 weeks, and they'll be bringing those findings and pictures to tomorrow's meeting at 5 o'clock here at the Mueller Center. And there'll be other things on the agenda.
Any questions for Deborah? Thank you, Deborah. Evans Plunge Advisory, Larry?
The meeting started at 12 noon. The attendants were Sandy Ferguson, Chris Hansen, Kathy Grant, Cody Karras, Troy Lurds, Tom Naz, Allison Ritterbush, Mary Smith. Also present was John Gregory, City Administrator. Wally was going to be at this meeting, but he will be at the next one coming up. Yay, Wally. Updating on staff. Informed EPAC members that Joshua is no longer here and introduced Cody Karras as our new Aquatics Wellness Director, EPMS. Cody gave a short verbal bio of his background, and all committee members introduced themselves as well. Shared the great news that the full-time head guard position had been approved by council on Tuesday night, so we would be looking for someone to fill that slot. Also brought up again that we are in crisis mode for lifeguards. Each day is a struggle to keep the pool open as we simply do not have coverage. Cody is scheduled to take the LGI course in Belfouche in early April, so we will be able to train in-house again. An update on closure. Tom provided a full accounting of things that were completed during closure 2021. While individuals are unhappy the health club was not available when we reopened, there was never an indication from staff that it would be. We will do our best to complete the project in a timely fashion. With COVID-19 community spread dropping from substantial to moderate and vaccination rates increasing, we are headed in the right direction. The next meeting will be April 18, 2021, noon at the EPMS. Thank you.
Any questions for Larry? Thank you, Larry. Parks, Recreation, Beautification, Wes?
Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Mueller Center. You're all welcome. I mean, you're all
Thank you.
cordially invited.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Planning and Zoning, JR?
Minutes for the March 17th Planning and Zoning Commission. Guests, Mayor Bob Nelson, Vicki Wetzel, Don Merrill, City Administrator John Gregory. Meeting called to order at 7 p.m. Don Alstead, Allison Ritterbush, Joni Hill, Christy Heideberg, J.R. Huddleston, Dwight Weenia, Scott Sobey are present. Motion to approve by Allison and second by Joni. To approve the minutes. Conflicts none. Approve the minutes February 17th. Motion to approve Christine, second by Dwight. Motion carried yes. New business. Wetzel Tiny Home, 602 Sulphur Springs. Tiny house was delivered. Vicki spoke with the manufacturer and felt their homes have been placed in numerous cities and it meets all the requirements of the code. Don Ofsted stated the problem is that is in the GC district, and mobile homes are strictly prohibited. Mobile homes depend on the frame they are built on. Mobile homes are supported inside of the perimeter and rely on some sort of skirting to enclose the outer perimeter. Modular homes have a structurally sound floor and are supported on the outside wall, the same as a stick-built house. The issue is that the frame of the building is the definition of a mobile home. There was a major lawsuit next to Hot Springs and the Pine Haven development, Halls versus White. That case went to the South Dakota Supreme Court and the people lost. The house was then removed and hauled up to Upper Hot Brook area and placed out of the city limits. Item add RV parks to allowed in Highway Service District 155.025. Dwight commented on the fact that the size of the property needs to be addressed and possibly stated a minimum acreage allowed for an RV park. He suggested 5 acres. There was discussion about the current RV park under construction, and it is approximately 12 acres. There was discussion not having a 1 or 2 trailer or RV brought in and being labeled as an RV park. Dwight stated a motion that RV parks be added to the Highway Service District with a minimum 5 acre minimum. Joni seconded, motion carried. Amendment 2021 petition to vacate procedure review. There was a discussion of how the new procedure layout was achieved and how much easier it was, or it will be, to have a procedure order for vacating to give out to the people looking to vacate a street or an alley right-of-way. Item Hot Springs Comprehensive Plan. Handouts were passed out, and Scott will send a PDF to all commission members and attendees. There was discussion on how much effort went into this in the 2017 through 2019 by the Planning Commission. John Gregory explained it was never finalized and the state guidelines have been changed. So this is a nearly complete version of the plan and needs to be reviewed individually and presented to the council. Item 5, Merrill Alley vacating 1604 Martin Street. Don Merrill chose to withdraw his vacating request based on the recent information he had received from his neighbors. Old business, additional living units, ADU. The Jewell family had a plan they are working on, and Don stated that they will need to present a scaled location exhibit in order to have the commission look at their request. Excuse me. Discussion ensued on how the city water meters are to be handled with a single service to a property with 2 residences. Mayor Nelson looked at the ordinance and it states that a meter is required for every service. The ordinance 51.05A3 also states that duplexes and multifamily dwellings may be individually metered, provided that each meter is provided with a shut-off valve that is accessible to the city without entering a private residence. Annexation was not discussed. Meeting adjourned at 9:10 p.m. Next meeting will be April 21st, 7 p.m. here at the Mueller Center.
Any questions for JR? Thank you. Public safety, Bill, JR?
That we meet. Attendees were Mayor Nelson. This was Wednesday, March 17th. Attendees, Mayor Nelson, Alderman Lukens, Huddleston, Pratt, City Administrator Gregory, and Chief Close. Standing items, PD update from Chief Close. State's Attorney will be providing a monthly prosecution case report. Chief Close participated in the Dr. Seuss Week at the Hot Springs Schools. Department is getting good feedback from the public on the new ACO. Department will be scheduling low-light shooting exercise as recommended by the insurance carrier inspection. The warmer weather has brought out more vandalism, mostly of the political nature, that the officers are responding to. Chief Close informed the committee that the school board is considering committing the budgeted funds for SRO to a mental health professional. After a lengthy discussion regarding what type of service would be best would best serve the school children, it was agreed that the best use of the funds would be for a mental health professional. Chief Close will be in contact with the Superintendent Fisher. In the future, if we can support an SRO with a structurally balanced budget, we would consider one at that time. In February, the department responded to 501 calls. 137 of those were by the animal control officer. Old business, 20-38, no update on medical marijuana as we were waiting for guidance from the state. 20-21, Chief Close was instructed to go ahead and order the wireless panic button for the PD. 2103, no update on the traffic sign study. And 20-35, City Administrator had contacted Kara Hagan at Moccasin Spring to coordinate the location of the requested crosswalk from their overflow parking lot across Minnetonka Avenue. The work will be completed as early as June, when all similar painting is completed. New business, the library staff inquired about obtaining an AED for their facility. They have been provided with grant information to request one. The meeting ended at 2:10 p.m. and our next meeting, Wednesday, 21st, 1 p.m. at the Mueller Center.
Any questions for JR? I'll just point out that, as you noticed, JR gave the report for public safety today versus Bill. Public Works and Public Safety are the two committees that we have chairs and vice chairs for. And there's been a feeling by the vice chairs that they're being discriminated against by not being able to provide the minutes.
It's an incorrect statement, Mr. Mayor.
We talked about it and thought we'd try on alternating who gives the report each time. So that's the reason that JR gave the report this time. And that takes us to Public Works with Dave and Craig.
It's the Craig Show.
Our meeting was March 30th at 1 p.m. I do not have the names. My partner has the names. Is there? If you still read them, I'll continue.
I can't because you were going to do it tonight, so I need to read my notes.
The dog ate them?
Well,
No, maybe clean up.
the ones I remember was myself, Dave, Bob, John,
Tracy Bastion.
Tracy Bastion,
Scott.
Scott, Hoagie.
I was there.
Oh,
Okay.
Preston,
Yeah.
Cedric.
There were
And,
several community members as well.
Yeah, names I do not know. Anyway, the discussion of the septic system versus the sewer line extension within the city limits. Martin Street, we discussed that thoroughly on which one or where the sewer line should go. If it should come from the north or the south, and how it would be paid for. Decided to discuss it further. So then we revisited the contract terms, the airport water rates and stuff of the Fall River water users. And we asked for 85%, but towards the end of the meeting, we decided to go a little lower, like maybe 75%. But it's got to come to the vote of the council. There's a discussion of a water line that goes across the airport, Bob Flynn's lots. It wasn't really discussed, it was just mentioned. Fall River restoration, landscaping phase, we put out for bids. I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but it's looking really nice down there. Talked about the RFP status of the wastewater plant repair. DNR, from the DNR letter, they wanted us to repair things. Digester lid, secondary clarifier suite. Tracy's getting bids on those. We got a drain clarifier to see how much of that needs repaired. Parking limits on Main Street was discussed. It's state says the city cannot mark anything. It's up to the state. And I don't think the state will do it. Additional rockfall area, we talked about it. Colebrook, whatever rocks look dangerous, like the one that fell downtown. I see most of it's cleaned up. There's a little bit left there. We need to do a little maintenance there, the sidewalk repair. It's my understanding we're putting a retaining wall where the rock fell down next to the sidewalk. Everything, all the potholes all over town have been talked about. Of course, they only talked about Garden Street, so I brought up all over town. There's a lot of potholes and they need repairs. We'll be doing some repairs soon, I hope, as soon as the weather lets us. The pedestrian crossing lines repainted in June, at Moccasin Springs, and Garden Street repair. We talked about a couple sewer lines, the sewer line behind Ace Hardware that needs repaired. There's a sewer line at 16th and 17th Street that needs repaired. We did not go over anything else because we had a long note. I'll take that back. We had the public there to talk about, I don't know the address of that. It's right in between the theater and,
And the old Sancho's?
yeah, the Sanchez. And those people would like to put water and sewer in there eventually. They need water right away. And they're going to come back and discuss that with us and see how we could make that happen for them so they can sell their Pakistani food out there. So what happened? Our next meeting's next Tuesday. Whatever date that would be.
Any questions for Craig or Dave? Thank you, gentlemen.
Well done, buddy.
Be on the 13th.
Yeah, same date.
Southern Hills Economic Development, JR.
No meeting was held, next meeting to be determined.
Thank you. Southern Hills Golf Course Advisory Committee held a meeting on March 22nd, 5 o'clock at City Hall. Golf course grounds manager Jason Happy was in attendance. Kathy Volmer, Dave Merrill, Greg Berry, Don Olstead, Gail Sprenthal, Colette Miller, and myself. The course opened back up on April 1st, weather permitting, so I think there's probably a pause there until we get rid of our current snow. The clubhouse foundation repairs have been ongoing. They were slowed down a little bit by the first snowstorm, the last snowstorm one that we had. The foundation will be stabilized by drilling holes, jacking up for proper support, pouring new foundation piers. John may give us a little more detail in his report. The COVID rules for the 2021 season will be in compliance with guidelines. It's very similar to what they did last year. Carts only to be shared by members of the same household and will be sanitized. Still be guidelines with no rakes in the bunkers. Of course, proper social distancing will be encouraged. The replacement golf carts have arrived. There are upgrades to the security system, including lighting and security cameras. And we're also looking at a very basic alarm system for the carts, actually running an extension cord, weaving an extension cord in and out of the carts and plugging it into a socket. So if it gets unplugged or cut or whatever, the alarm system goes off, so we don't need any high-tech kind of stuff. We can just do it with an extension cord. It was done many, many years ago and was very effective with the original clubhouse. Fundraisers. Last year, the golf course had a fundraiser for Don Gannon, which raised around $5,000, and that money is going to replacing cart path on hole number 12. The committee is looking at another fundraiser very similar to the Can Man fundraiser. It's a raffle type of thing. They're looking at that. It's proving to be very successful throughout the state. There's other golf courses that are doing it to raise money for their golf courses, so they'll continue looking at how to put that together. Like all things, it's easy to have a good idea. It's often difficult to figure out how you're going to implement it, how you're going to staff it. So that's what they're looking at. There is renewed discussion about a liquor license at the golf course. It's come up a number of times in the past about whether that's the right thing to do or not. That discussion is come back around, and it generated more than just a liquor discussion. It's what does the city want to do with the clubhouse in general going forward? Do we want to continue the way that we've been doing it, or does it make more sense to maybe look at a concessionaire and get the clubhouse out of the city's managing and into different hands? So it's just very rough at this point, but at least being open to looking at is the way we've been doing it, the way that we want to continue to do it. I mentioned the cart path repair on hole number 12. That's going along well. They're doing what they can as weather permits. The next meeting will be the second Monday in April, and it will be at 5 o'clock at City Hall. That takes us to the Finance Officer Report. Misty?
Thank you. I provided a memo with the monthly Finance Officer reports, including your year-to-date profit and loss summary, the fund summary report, which shows you how we're doing against our budget, the cash balance report for both our Wells Fargo checking, which is our main checking account, and our Bank of the West checking accounts. Those are separated by fund. And then the investment reports for all the cash assets of the city. My memo, I also mentioned our new City Hall Administrative Assistant, Carrie Pyle, has started. Next time you're at City Hall, please stop and welcome her.
What was that name again?
Carrie Pyle. We're excited to have her, and she's excited to be here. March 30th was the deadline for submitting nominating petitions, and we will have a 2021 municipal election. I just noticed I have a typo there. It's not 2020 anymore. Petitions submitted include Ward 1, Craig Romey and Jeff Shannon. That's the one ward we'll have a race in. Ward 2, Dave Burris. Ward 3, Linda Barbell. And Ward 4, Deborah Johnston. The election, as you remember, we voted to approve combining our elections with the Hot Springs School Board, and they will also have an election for one of their 4 openings. We'll be meeting and working together on this upcoming combined election. Still working on the 2020 annual report. All the annual compilations and adjustments have been completed with the exception of 2. Those are related to our capital asset listings. Those are any additions, removals, and construction in progress as of 12/31/20. And then the associated accumulated depreciation for our assets. Cato manages that listing. I've turned into them the information they need, and I'm waiting for the reports back so I can post the entries. And then they also help calculate and report our SDRS pension plan net asset or expense. That's GASB 68, you've heard me talk about before. Once those last 2 pieces are done, then their impact on our year-end totals will be finalized, and I can finish the annual report and accompanying notes. Cato will prepare the completion of our audit report and review of the financials following the presentation the first meeting in May. I have some details on a meeting I had with our South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance member service representative, Jerry Krambeck. They come annually and review issues related to our renewal, our previous year's claims, and our coverage. There were 3 items that we talked about that were important that I share with you. One is related to airport liability insurance and our ability to combine the liability coverage with our existing SDPAA coverage and cancel our second policy. That was the result of purchasing the fueling system. It did result in a $1,700 decrease in annual premiums for the same exact coverage, so that's good news. The second is a mix of good and bad news, and it's related to our SDPAA deposit asset, which is recorded in our general fund. That asset represents the amount available for refund should the city no longer participate in the alliance. This year, for the first time, there are 3 things that it's based on: our total contribution percentage, our loss ratio, and the number of years of membership. This year, the asset increased $121,214 from the year before. This is the result of a decrease in our loss ratio. It dropped to 119, which is only 1% under the threshold, but enough to result in a significant increase. So that sounds good, an increase in an asset, but here's why that's a problem. And adjusting journal entries needed to increase the asset and offset the increase with an insurance expense in the 13 departments in our general fund. I'm concerned with both the volatility of 2021 claims. The city could easily go above the 120% threshold in this year, and then the overall impact of the adjustments I have to make on both the 2020 and 2021 financials. The additional unbudgeted debits of $121,000 will exceed actual 2020 general fund insurance premium budget amounts. And then we may have a resulting decrease next year if we vary by 1%. I did call both CADL and the Department of Legislative Audit and plead my case. I think that it skews the reporting for both years, and it seems silly to make those kind of adjustments, but there's no way around it, so I'll be posting that, and we'll deal with it, and we'll have some notes probably in our financials to explain. Lastly, some more unavoidable, not so great news. Our 2020 safety benefits property survey results indicated necessary increases to the stated values for a number of city properties in order to maintain replacement cost coverage. The survey results compared our statement of building values with their calculated replacement values and determined we need to increase approximately $4.4 million in value at an additional annual premium expense of $8,800. We're currently working with the insurer to spread that increase over the next 3 years and keep replacement coverage on all our buildings. Talk a little bit about the new American Rescue Plan. I'm not going to talk too much about that because there's more information that just came out today. So I'll give you an update on that at the next meeting. And then also talked about the work that we've been doing with our airport engineers to comply with the FAA grant funding requirements related to the construction of the multi-aircraft hangar building and site development project that's been approved at the airport. We'll submit notification for publications. They'll be published 2 times with an award date hopefully of May 3rd. Since we're receiving the federal financial assistance, we must sign an assurance and comply with 49 CFR Part 26, which is related to disadvantaged business enterprises, or DBEs. I've been working with KLJ on language for the required city DBE program, which will be on a future council agenda for adoption. If anyone has any questions on any of the financial reports, please don't hesitate to ask. And just a final reminder that this period and each year we see a little more red than we will after we hit our peak season for tourism and start collecting more sales tax dollars. But if anything alarms you or you have any questions about any of those numbers, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Any questions for Misty?
No, thank you, Mr.
Thank you. John?
All right, it's been busy again. The DOT received all their utility drawings and their itemized schedule of materials they were delivered on time, as well as suspended sidewalk drawings and schedule of materials were delivered. We're still waiting on the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers 408 permit. That permit allows us to cut off the top of the parapet wall. That's pending a materials evaluation by AET. We've had several meetings scheduled, moved around, but we're going to be meeting hopefully this Friday, weather permitting, to talk about the Minnetonka Bridge replacement, the options for replacing that bridge and when we could get it funded. The Dollar General on the north end of town has also been discussed regarding the entrance on the 385 and its impact to the highway construction. They've issued a new revised site layout today, and they'll be looking at another permit through the DOT to get that entrance approved. Our streets, utilities, parks, and cemetery had several days of snow removal after that last big snow event. A couple of days that they went in at 3 a.m. to get things cleared while there wasn't any traffic on our streets. They're still having issues with cars and trailers that obstruct plowing lanes. We met at Moccasin Springs and discussed the pedestrian crosswalk there from the overflow parking lot and have that on our schedule for June painting. We
had some sewer main repairs in the half-block section at 16th and Baltimore Alley. That will be a line that will be replaced next as part of the ongoing sewer upgrades. We did some topsoil placement and working on some wall materials installation and riprap along the slopes at our Fall River Channel improvements, getting that ready for the next RFP for the landscape portion of that work. Will be let as a bid. We were tied up a couple of days with the big rock fall at the Freedom Trail. That was exciting. If you want to see it, I can send you the video. Evans Plunge has the new Aquatics and Wellness Director, Cody Carras. Good to have him on board. Seems to have a good history coming from Spearfish. They're continuing work on the Health and Fitness Club, building the hot tub surround and stairs, tentatively looking at a May 1st opening. They're also discussing cooperative education opportunities with the Hot Springs High School. One of our board members represents the high school. Looking at health instruction, physical education, CPR, lifeguard training, and they're also interested in golf and bowling opportunities. Been a couple of ongoing discussions here lately with Shedco, some future economic development that's being considered for our area. The United Ranchers Co-op is a meat packing plant that's being looked at, the feedlot in the county, and it will have some infrastructure needs. So we've met with the GOED regarding community access and agricultural grants that might support some of this infrastructure. Other good stuff going on. We've got the RFP for the Brookside Park sprinkler system. The bid opening will be tomorrow at the Parks and Rec meeting. Our RFP for the Fall River Channel Restoration Landscape Phase 1. Those bids will be opened at Public Works the next meeting. We're also trying to put together the RFP for the softball field fence replacement. It is a work in progress at this moment. I hope to have a preliminary for the Parks and Rec tomorrow. The notice to bidders was in your packet for the wastewater treatment plant facility digester cover replacement. Those bids are due by May 11th. And lastly, the Southern Hills Golf Course Clubhouse Foundation repairs is being done by Rapid Foundation of Rapid City. We're taking out the old foundations on the north end of the patio and replacing those with helical piers with new pier caps installed, which will support and realign the wood superstructure, and then we'll also be pressure grouting and re-leveling the slab. Thank you.
Any questions for John?
Yeah, could I ask, John, what do you suppose you got kind of rough engineer's estimate for that width, that digester?
We got several preliminary bids on it. They were from $95,000 to $130,000. We're looking at the best option would be to get a completed unit that's already painted, so when it arrives, all we have to do is have a contractor to set it in place, rather than trying to field assemble something here, paint it, and put it up. We're looking probably about $130,000.
But you got a better grade at 130 as far as the paint and all that stuff is already done. The paint will last a lot longer that way than if we did it in the field. So it's a good thing.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John. Okay, a couple things for you. One short, one not so short. City Hall received a thank you from Terry Halls that I want to share with council and the public. Thank you to the city street crew. In regards to the last snow removal, not today's last snow removal, I would like to thank you for the outstanding way you removed the snow from the streets and walking paths. I appreciate the speed and the hard work it took, plus the long hours to get this city dug out and moving forward. Thanks again, Terry Halls. So the thank yous are always appreciated. They don't outweigh the other opinions, but anytime we get them, I'd like to thank folks for recognizing that the city crews, all city staff, put their heart and souls behind serving the city, and I thank you for that. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the West Oak building. Obviously, it's been on everyone's minds and hearts for the last month or so. So I just put together a rough timeline to help us understand how we got where we're at. So I found a letter, John pointed me to some documents from 2011, from May 15th of 2011. It's a letter from Scott Seminar, the building inspector, to the Hot Springs Citizens for Progress. Quote, please consider this letter notice and order that the structure located at 313 North River Street is hereby deemed to be so out of repair as to be dangerous, unsafe, and unfit for human occupancy. And as there has been no action taken to repair the building since you purchased the building on or about September 6th, 2009, the structure is hereby condemned. This is in 2011. We all know that not much happened since from 2011. Next one is January 16th of 2020. It was the Albertsons engineering inspection. In anticipation of the Highway 385 road reconstruction project, the city hired Albertson Engineering to perform an inspection of the condition of the West Oak building. As a result of that inspection, Mike Albertson, professional engineer, required the immediate barricading of the sidewalk and on-street parking in the front and back of the building by the City of Hot Springs Police Department. On January 17th, one day after that inspection, 2020, John emailed the South Dakota Historical Preservation Office to let them know the results of the January 16th, 2000 inspection. On January 20th of 2020, the city received Albertson's engineering's report. One portion of it that speaks to what we've been struggling with for the last year. Quote, it is our opinion that the recommendations require urgent action. The entire building structure of 717th North River Street is unsafe and in danger of imminent collapse. There is no way to predict the timing of such collapse, and collapse could be catastrophic and occur without any warning. End quote. Consistent with what was said back in 2011. So from January of 2020, then we fast forward to January of 2021. John emailed, January 6, 2021, John emailed the State Historic Preservation Office to update them on the West Oak abatement. February 16, 2021, at a City Council meeting, the 3 responses to the West Oak building demolition were read and reviewed and referred to the Public Works Committee for review. March 16, 2021, City Council meeting, a motion was made to accept the lowest responsible bid for the demolition of the West Oak building. The vote was 7 in favor and 1 opposed. One day after that meeting, council meeting, March 17, 2021, John emailed the State Historic Preservation Office to let them know the council accepted the lowest responsible bid for the demolition of the West Oak, which started a 10-day review process by the State Historic Preservation Office. John also let SHPO know he sent them a certified copy of the city's documentation as required. On March 22, 2021, an email back from SHPO, quote, I want to send you a quick email to let you know we received your letter via certified mail last Friday, March 19th. The City of Hot Springs will be free to issue permits for this project after March 29th, 2021. And then on March 25th, 3 days after John received the email response from SHPO saying the City of Hot Springs will be free to issue permits for this project after March 29th, 2021, John received a phone call from SHPO letting him know they received a number of calls in opposition to the demolition of the West Oak building and suggesting Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act should apply to the demolition of the West Oak building. For folks that may not be familiar with what Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act is, it was an act that was passed in 1966 that says, Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act requires that each federal agency identify and assess the effects its actions may have on historic buildings. Again, focusing on federal agencies. There's probably a lot of folks here that understand what Section 106 is. It's what the VA bumped into when they proposed reconfiguring the Black Hills healthcare system because they're a federal agency, and what they were proposing would be a significant impact on the surrounding area. They were in fact required to go through the review process of Section 106. So on one day after John received the call, on March 26th, I called SHPO, spoke with them and told them I believe that because the West Oak building isn't owned by a federal agency, Section 106 shouldn't apply. SHPO believes that because the Highway 385 reconstruction project is partially federally funded, Section 106 does apply. So that's the connection that SHPO is looking at. Even though the West Oak building itself is not owned by federal property, because the city has openly acknowledged, we've never hidden from the fact, that a decision needs to be made for our road reconstruction project to go forward. And that road reconstruction project is partially funded by federal money. That's the hook. That's the connection that SHPO is reviewing at this point. On March 31st, 2021, John and I talked with SHPO and the Department of Transportation regarding the Section 106 review. John and I restated the Section 106 connection is a stretch and potentially jeopardizing the road reconstruction project. The call lasted for about an hour, and all present on the call agreed SHPO's review of this possible connection with Section 106 needs to be expedited. And the request for proposal from RCS Construction accepted by Council, RCS expected to begin permitting on March 1st, 2021, and begin mobilization on March 19th, 2021, with the completion of the project on June 7th, 2021. The project is already a month behind schedule, and we now need to wait on further review by SHPO. John and I are doing everything we can to keep the highway road reconstruction project moving forward, and Council will be the first to know when SHPO updates us on their current review. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do you know, would there be any penalties incurred by us through the low bidder for delay?
John, it's my understanding that no.
We have 90 days.
I would defer that to our attorney.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, John. I entertain a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call. I'm sorry, roll call?
Burris,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Huddleston,
Yes.
Johnston, Lukens,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Romy,
No.
Turner. Yes. Thank you.
All those opposed, stay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Phil.
Good night.